I don't think enough credit is given to air conditioning for being like a top 5 thing on the planet that exists. Air conditioning is so great. So great. I mean, I'm in Minnesota. We only need it for like a quarter of the year. There's a lot of places where you need that thing almost year round. And I appreciate it so very much. It is one of the greatest things in my life. It is one of the biggest wonders of functionality for me. I mean, like, trying to conceptualize how you create and maintain cold versus like creating heat is a big jump mentally for me. I feel like one of the biggest travesties in my education experience, I don't understand how air conditioning works, and I don't understand the origin of it. Like, I feel like that should have been extremely covered in my life for all people. It's like, this is how the most glorious thing in creation was made. I would like to know that. I would also like to learn about the moment in history where air conditioning was created and war just stopped because people realized they could just sit inside and be comfortable. That had to have happened. I don't recall it. I don't know who made air conditioning. I don't know how it works. I don't know anything about it, really, except for that it brings me comfort and joy and love, and it is so vastly underappreciated. I think it needs a lot more coverage. And even the name of air conditioning is so bland. Like, I feel like we really need to recognize how tremendous and extraordinary this invention and this thing is. Because it can turn your experience from being miserable to perfect and fantastic with ultimate control for your entire day, your entire existence practically. It is such a monumental benefit, so I wanted a word that reflected that. And when I was thinking of what air conditioning means to me, I thought of so many H words. I was like, it's holy, it's heavenly, it's in your home very frequently, it's to combat the heat. Like, I feel like there's so many words that start with H that involve air conditioning, so I really wanted to make sure that was included. And what I ended up going with is Hovent. And Hovent has so much going on because I really thought I wanted to have all of those H words that I just mentioned kind of built into the word. So that starting H is kind of supposed to represent all of those that I just mentioned. And then Hovent, you can notice the full word of oven is actually in the middle of that. However, I wanted to end it with a T because then it sounds like haven't. And then it feels like you haven't been in an oven because you have Hovent, which is air conditioning. So with the H, we have all the words that were describing air conditioning that were super important. Then we have oven, because that's what you don't experience with the T at the end, making it sound like haven't. And you kind of avoid that feeling of being in an oven when you have air conditioning. And then finally, it also kind of sounds like heaven a little bit with the T at the end. And I think all of these ideas are appropriate for air conditioning, and I also just feel like air conditioning, it's a little bit of a mouthful, it's a little bland, so it's better to have a good alternative like Hovent. And really, Hovent can probably take the place of both air conditioner and air conditioning, and the language can be a little bit more malleable to work around because it's really about getting across what you want to without worrying about kind of little details at times. And I feel like I really do appreciate air conditioning so much because I really love it and I get hot so easily, but my family really chooses to torture me and enjoys that. Like, my mom, growing up, she likes to have the air conditioning set at 80 degrees and she'll compromise to go down to like 78, which is absolute torture to me. Ideal for me would be around like 68. And so she would always be setting that thing, refusing to compromise for a millisecond, even though it's way easier to solve being cold than it is to solve being hot when air control and temperature is not an option. But that never seemed to work for me. And even my dad, it seems like he looks for 76 now. So their house is usually pretty miserable when it comes to air conditioning. And then my room designated in that house is the warmest of them all. So that can be pretty rough. But soon, that shall not be an issue for me. But yeah, that's what we got for the change. Let's move on to our song and video of the day. Song of the day is Why You So Cold by Gavin and X Games. Decided to pick a song based around cold due to today's topic, and I picked one that was made by a couple of buddies of mine. This is maybe their first song that was put up on Spotify. At least it was my favorite of their very early stuff before they kind of got some of their albums out. They have 2 out now. It's got a smooth, enjoyable chorus, and Why You So Cold is pretty good. It was a good foundation for them. I feel like they've grown in some areas musically, and there's maybe a little bit more complexity to a lot of their songs, but this was a great starting point, and I do like this song. Then the video of the day is a scene from Community where Troy is being recruited by like an air conditioning secret society and how they like repair air conditioners, and he gets brought into the room temperature room and is like going crazy about that with how like incredible it feels. And this is just a pretty goofy, fun clip that is pretty aligned with my ideas on Hovend. That'll do it for La Tele 2. Peace out.